Hello everybody, this is Ryan over at Bearded Tree Hugger. I wanted to talk about a video that I had seen yesterday that Dr. McDougall was interviewed for. I don't really know how to put it in. I kind of know how to do it. I should know it. I went to school for editing and video game design, but I really didn't do much editing. So I'm going to link the video down there. It's about 38 to 40 minutes long. Toward the end of the video, he's going to reference what I'm talking about. Maybe I'll even put a bookmark within the video so you can just kind of go straight to that. But maybe I'll just leave the video because it's actually a pretty good video. I think I'm going to do that. So I just answered my own question. So you already know what you're going to get, the whole video. So in the video, he talks about wishing he never had written the book Maximum Weight, Dr. McDougall's Maximum Weight Loss, or I think that's what the book is called. I actually own the book. Oh, I'm using my phone to video. I actually own the book on audio. It's a decent book, but it does make you kind of paranoid about eating starches. And I think that's a complete, I know that's a complete opposite of what he wanted to get across there. Like the very rare people who can't lose weight on a starch solution, or they want to lose weight a lot faster, can do the maximum weight loss. Now, the people who I see doing the maximum weight loss, I don't know if they're going to be able to make it, their entire life with this. It seems like a lot of them have to have coffee still. And I think if you have to drink coffee, or if you have to take other kind of stimulants, I don't know what that would be. Like, I know my buddy still uses, I don't know how he gets it, but he still uses Ephedra, caffeine, and aspirin, the old stack from the 90s, early 2000s, for energy. And then he wonders why he can't sleep every night. I mean, there's no mystery here. The reason I can't sleep at night is there's so much energy that comes off this food, and I have so much stuff that I want to get done. I do my drawings, some of them back here. I do, these videos. I run an eBay. I run a Mercari, occasionally Poshmark. So I just have so much stuff going on during the day, and I always forget to just tail it off at some point at night. And then I've got that got to get this done brain mentality going on. It takes me 4 hours to get it to spool back down. So I'm working on that. But I can only imagine, if I was on these stimulants and up and down, So anyway, not the point of the video. The point of the video was he says that wishes that he had never written the book. And it's because people get too obsessed with eating their salads, their green vegetables, their yellow vegetables, all the non-starchy vegetables. They eat all that kind of stuff. And then if they're hungry enough at the end, then they'll have a little bit of starch, which he says in this video that I'm going to share down below. And it's a good watch. That 90% of your plate should be starch. And I totally agree with this. If you eat just nothing but starch. Now, I do have to say that I'm in the middle of eating this. I eat the same thing every day. It's ridiculous. I have a rice cooker. I put porridge on for I guess it's not even morning anymore, but I put it on for the morning, and then I'll have whatever kind of starches throughout the day. Now, rice does not hold you over as well as some other things like potatoes, but I don't want to eat potatoes all day either, despite the fact that I'm about as Irish as you can get. My people lived on potatoes. I've done it. It's just potatoes are getting absurdly expensive. I don't understand. I mean, they're grown here. It's not like we're getting them off these cargo ships that are just sitting off the coasts and not being unloaded. So I don't know why the potatoes have gotten so expensive, but they have. I have done it in the past, and I know everybody's going to tell me that you can get like a $3 bag of potatoes at Walmart. I do have a little story about that. I used to work in a bank in Northwest Philadelphia, probably 45 miles outside of Philadelphia, and there was a lot of farmers there. And one or two of them, I didn't even know they grew them, but one or two of them were potato farmers. And I was opening a checking account. It was some joint effort between, it was like a coalition, or I think it was a coalition, a co-op. It was a co-op between all these local growers where you could pay $45 or $50 a month and you would get a box of produce, which I joined, obviously, because I mean, who doesn't want to do that? So I joined it, and while I was in the middle of opening up this business account for them, they started talking about, because I had a huge box of dates. I don't know if you've ever heard of the date people, but I had a box behind me on the thing where if I got hungry, I would just kind of pop a date or two. And it was from the date people in California, and they're like, oh, why do you have that? And I told them, I don't really eat meat or anything anymore. And they told me that never to get conventional potatoes. They said that they grow conventional potatoes, and the stuff that they put in that soil to act as retardants and all that kind of stuff is so toxic that they actually grow another patch of potatoes that's organic for their family. They won't touch, and they got like the soil separated. They don't want anything to do with this stuff. I mean, the fields are so far apart from each other. I don't know that there's going to be any runoff. So ever since then, I won't buy conventional potatoes. Now, of course, I've had conventional potatoes because if I go to my mom and dad's house or a family member's and they're making potatoes, nobody ever buys organic potatoes, because if you go to regular grocery stores, organic potatoes are like $10 a pound or something like that. It's ridiculous. They can't be, because I've grown potatoes. I bought a 50-pound bag of organic potatoes from a local, what is it called? Oh man, it's just on the tip of my tongue. A local, what in the world? They don't have electricity. Amish person. Amish person. So there's a bunch of Amish if you go a certain direction from where I live. There's a ton of Amish people, and they generally don't use a lot of chemicals. If they do, it's just to enrich the soil. So I went and bought a 50-pound bag of potatoes from them, and I planted it, and I got like 500 pounds of potatoes out of this thing over the season. I didn't have any kind of bug issues whatsoever. So I don't know why they need to have all these harsh chemicals going to the ground to grow these potatoes. Now, I don't know if I just got lucky. I've wanted to do it again, but the plot of land that I used to actually grow these potatoes on, the guy, he still owns it, but he retired, and all of a sudden he doesn't want anything to do with growing at all anymore. He grew stuff. I mean, he's got a couple acres. He grew stuff his entire life. He graduates from working, and now he doesn't want to do anything. He doesn't even cut his own grass. He doesn't cut the grass anymore. He just lets it grow. So anyway, that plot of land is gone. I know I can find other plots of land, but you never know what people use to grow on this land, So I kind of shy away from it because you never know if there's arsenic, or cadmium, or all this kind of other stuff in the land. So, and I know you can have it tested. Probably should just do that because I love growing my own stuff. I love potatoes. Those 500 pounds of potatoes. Honestly, because I don't eat potatoes for every meal, it lasted me the entire winter. If you pack them right, and if you grow your own potatoes, do not wipe the dirt off. Just get the dirt off enough to know that it's a potato and not a rock or whatever. And just put them in like burlap bags, or put them in, what we did is we put them in cardboard boxes and then covered them with burlap. And I think we might have lined the boxes with like paper or something. I don't know. But they lasted the entire winter. And there was 3 or 4 of us pulling from this bag of 50 pounds. So I turned 50 pounds to 500. So I think that's a good yield. And it wasn't hard to do. I didn't need anything at all except for water. And it was a decent amount of rain that year. So I really didn't even have to water all that much. But it wasn't sandy soil. So, I'd imagine if you get a ton of rain and if you've got clay soil, because we live so close to the beach, it tends to be a little bit more sand in the soil. Now here I'm farther from where I grew this from the beach, and it's very clay here. So I don't know if there was a ton of rain that year, it might rot the potatoes out. I don't know. I don't know how that works because I've only done it one time. So anyway, don't get, if you're going to do the starch solution, do not get, unless you absolutely cannot afford it. If you can only afford the $1.98 bag of, and actually I never go to Walmart, but I was at Walmart today, and even the old $1.98 bags are like $6 or $7 now. So potatoes are just getting jacked the prices up on them. It's crazy. Everything's just going up. So anyway, if you can afford it, I highly, 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 highly suggest getting organic potatoes. Rice, I don't know. It doesn't really seem like it's necessary, but it could be. I could be completely wrong on that. So he suggests not doing a 50-50 plate unless you've tried the starch solution very faithfully for a very long time and it's just not working, or you got a certain thing coming up and you need to drop a weight faster or something like that. But even Doug Lyle, I don't know if anybody's heard of him. I watched a video with him, and the question was asked, they were in California, and an actress asked him how to, because she had to do some kind of movie or something like that, how to lose weight the fastest. And he told her to do a raw vegan diet. And I can vouch for that. Weight was falling off like crazy on that raw vegan diet. But like I told you in another video, I forget which one, it's just gotten so hard to find raw fruits and vegetables that are of any kind of quality. You have to add just a ton of sugar to make it even taste right. So I kind of went to starch way, because starch is much easier to find. And you don't have to have a ripening process. And people are probably going to ask me in the comments why I don't go and just buy that 50-pound bag of potatoes instead of going to the grocery store. I have done it, and I've actually, because they cleaned them off, and I've had a really hard time keeping them without them rooting much longer than a week and a half or 2 weeks. So by the time you get to the bottom, unless I was eating potatoes all day, every day, and by the time you get to the bottom, you can't even use them anymore. They're just squishy and rooted. I mean, you just throw them out anyway. So, it might be worth it if you've got a family and your whole entire family is doing this, and if you can find Amish farm or Mennonite farm or something like that, and they've got this stuff for pretty cheap, or if you can go to, a lot of this stuff is coming to a close here in the northern hemisphere. But if you can find like a farmer's market or something like that, you usually can get pretty good deals on potatoes and stuff like that. So I've had the same experience. I know I go off in tangents. I hope everybody's watching this and give me a thumbs up if you are, thumbs down if you hate potatoes. I don't know how you could. Who hates potatoes? So bottom line is, when I did the 50-50 plate, I was going crazy. I didn't have the energy. I was always hungry, and I was eating a ton of food. I was eating like 10 pounds of food at a time, where normally I don't have to eat that much. But they say that, per body weight, or if you watch the Chef AJ, or if you watch some of these other people on the 50-50 plate, that you should be eating a certain amount of pounds of vegetables, non-starchy vegetables per body weight per day. At least that's what I got out of it. Maybe that's not right. So I was eating a bunch of it, and I was hungry all the time, and I didn't really have much energy either. I was like, trying to get through my day, and, here I am, trying to get through my day, and it just wasn't working. So that's when I went off the bandwagon, and that's when Mr. Dessert Rack comes out, the muffins, the cookies, the pies, not potatoes, all that other kind of stuff. You put your, like, the cookies, the cakes, the muffins. I'm like a muffin man. Chocolate chip muffin, man. Or if you can actually find a pumpkin vegan muffin, that is delish. So anyway, so I'm coming back. I'm starting these videos now while I still got weight to lose, because I want, by the time this is done, this is going to be a good Like people are I want to help people with this, because the struggle that I have had the last 20 years, 20 years with this. I lost a ton of weight in 99 by doing, and this was not vegan obviously, but I lost a ton of weight. I was just doing like I said before, it was the keto. Stay away from keto. Keto is terrible for you, and I'm dealing with the repercussions of keto with my liver, kidney, and pancreas and all that kind of stuff. Oh, having a hard time functioning, which is finally coming around after 10 years on vegan. So anyway, I lost a ton of weight in 99 going into 2000. I was like 7-8% body fat, 9% body fat at 225, somewhere in there, 220, 225. And I was lifting, actually I lost most of the weight by doing an hour of walking at night, even though it hurt because my foot was in such bad shape. And then I met my ex-wife, and her family didn't believe in cooking. So we would go to the restaurants, diners, whatever, all the time. They made a ton of money. Their family was well off. They didn't care about, that they didn't need to conserve money because there was no shortage of it. And I put the weight on so quick. I mean, I think by 2001, 2002, I think I weighed like 280 or so. I looked like an elephant at my wedding. I looked like an elephant. I mean, I can't even look at, I mean, who wants to look at their ex-wife and use wedding pictures? I ended up with the book. I can't even look at it. It looks like an elephant up on the altar there. And then this slender female, so that's when I went back on the keto diet, and then I lost a ton of weight again. But I was lethargic all the time, and I hated coffee. So I was taking caffeine pills or whatever to get through the day. I can't believe I did that. Anyway, so I don't want all of you to go through all these cycles and all the kind of stuff. So I don't even know what this video is crazy. So watch the video that I'm going to post down below. It's another 40 minutes. At least he's a little more on point, but he does wander like I do. But he will, towards the end of the video, talk about the fact that you really should just start off doing 90% starch and 10% a little bit of vegetables or a little bit of fruit or a little bit of whatever. He's sugar phobic. I don't know why. Because the doctor he promotes the most is Dr. Walter Kempner, who was all about rice, sugar, fruit juice, and fruit. So I don't know why he's so sugar phobic. He's even published videos about how this group, they did studies on this group, and they gave them what they would thought was their regular basal calorie food for the day. And then they would give them, I think, like another 1,000 calories additionally of sugar. And after 3 months, these people only gained 0.3 extra, like 0.3 pounds, 0.3 pounds, after adding an additional 1,000 calories or something like that a day. 0.3 pounds. So I don't know why everybody's so sugar phobic. Now, obviously, these people didn't lose weight, but they didn't change their diets at all. They just added sugar. So these people were probably eating all their meats and cheeses and all that kind of stuff, which you can't lose weight on unless you're starving yourself or doing this intermittent fasting or whatever this other crazy stuff is that people do. So watch the video. Let me know what you think. Let me know how things are going for you. I think 95% of the people are going to do great on 90% starch and 10% whatever else. A huge percentage. I think the only people that you see on these making these 50 plate videos are people who had really struggled with binging or comforting themselves with food or whatever other reason, and I think they just couldn't stick with the 90%. I think they were adding a lot of other fats and stuff like that. It seems to me. I don't think any of them actually did the starch solution in and of itself. I think they all would add it, because I mean, if you watch videos of these, a lot of them still had videos prior to going 50-50 or early 50-50, and they were adding a lot of fat and avocados, nuts, and all that kind of stuff to their food, and that's why they weren't losing the weight. Now, some of them, obviously, more than likely, were at a point where they needed a 50-50 plate. I'm not saying that it doesn't work. I'm not saying that it's not good. I'm not saying that people don't make progress off it. I'm just saying that by and large, I just don't know how you survive off that. On top of the fact that non-starchy vegetable prices will bankrupt you in the current market. If you're trying to eat cucumbers and zucchini and squashes, and the prices of these things has gone up to a level that if you're trying to feed a family of 3, 4, 5, 6, I just don't know how you can justify some of the prices that they're charging for this stuff. Even the local stuff is like so expensive. I think these local people who grew this stuff for almost nothing are seeing the prices that people are paying at these stores, and they're like, well, we'll charge it too. I think that that's what's happening, because the prices, and maybe it's just my area, I don't know. I know when I was on the West Coast, it seemed like everything but food was more expensive. But the food, because I was in Seattle and Portland and all that kind of stuff, the food was a lot cheaper. This is a decade or so ago, so it could have changed. But the food here on the east side or the East Coast or whatever, it's just, I don't know how people even afford it. I really don't, because the frozen food bags, the prices have gone up, unless they're eating all non-organic stuff, and then you don't know what you're getting. You might lose a ton of weight, but you might have a ton of toxins from whatever they're putting on this food. So I don't think it's worth it. Anyway, rambled on long enough. Watch the video. It's going to be down below. Like my video, comment on my video, dislike my video, do something. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you've got any requests. And I will talk to you next. Oh, and subscribe if you want. Talk to you next time.